everyone, it's Lindsay and welcome back to my channel. So today we're doing my March wrap up. I don't know if it was just me, but it felt like March lasted literally 17 years. Not in a bad way, but just like, maybe it was because February is so short, but it just like went on and on. But I hope you all are doing well and that you're having a lovely spring so far. I know I am. Like, all of my honeysuckle bushes are in bloom right now and I'm just like, oh, makes me so happy. It smells so good. So in these videos, I like to go over all of the things that happened to me in the month of March. I'm going to be talking about my reading, my life stuff, my work stuff, and writing, and where I'm at with all of these different parts of my life. Really quickly before we dive in though, I did want to give an announcement. I have said before that I am going to be going to England. We're actually going in less than 3 weeks. It's wild. And I mentioned before that I wanted to do a meetup with some of my UK readers. I'm still open to the idea, but I think it's going to need to be a lot more chill than I originally thought it was going to be. I'm scared that I'm going to be like, hey, let's meet up at London at this time on this date, and then I'm going to get sick and cancel on all of you guys, especially if some of you had to like take a train for hours to get to London just to meet me. Like, I would feel absolutely terrible. So here's what I have decided to do. On the days that I am in London and I'm feeling well and I am in areas where like there's a lot of things to do, like shops, coffee shops, bookstores, things like that, I will just send out an Instagram message or just like post on my stories and be like, hey, I'm in London, this is where I'm at this coffee shop, I'm at this bookstore, I'm gonna be here for another hour. If you want to come, like, say hi, come say hi. And I'll do that while I'm in London. I'll also do that while I'm in Manchester and maybe York, just depending. But it's really gonna be like kind of like a spur of the moment thing, because again, I don't want to make these plans and then cancel, especially if you guys like spent money or something to like travel to see me. I would feel absolutely awful. I know that that obviously means some of you guys are not going to be coming, and that's totally fine. Like, I really understand. If you hear from me and you can make it, great. If you don't hear from me, I'm probably dead in a ditch somewhere in London. Also, if I go into any bookstores that have my books, I will be signing them, and then I'll just be like, hey, signed copy at this bookstore. So that'll be really cool, I think. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive right in. I'm gonna start with work and writing stuff first, right off the bat. Let's talk about the most exciting news of the month. The ARCs of the Odds came in. I'm so excited to have these. They don't have the artwork in there yet. There will be artwork, just like there was artwork in the Glass Witch. So it's not in here, but I still get a really cool like cover reprint page, and then, you know, the page where I would be like signing and everything, and my dedication made it in, so that's really cool. And then yeah, they did like this really cool like parchment thing with my prologue, which awesome. And then yeah, like right into it. So I am so excited. She is so much thicker than the Glass Witch, which makes me so happy. I wanted to write a little bit more of a chunkier book, which she's not chunky, but like just feeling the difference between her and like the Glass Witch arc is just, okay, it's not that big of a deal, but it feels different. The way that they feel is different. They look so good side by side. Like, I am so happy. I can't wait to do a giveaway. I am gonna wait a little bit closer to the release date to start giving these bad boys away, but like, I cannot wait for you guys to read this. I just feel like this book is me. Like, if I was transformed into a book, it would be this one. Like, haunted nursing home, tons of cranky grandmas and grandpas, like ghosts, ridiculous puns, like this is me in book form. Okay, and then the next thing to update you guys on was that I did this really cool event this month. I got to host a teen writer workshop with a library in Columbus, Ohio, and I'm just gonna say it was my favorite event I have ever done in my life. Like, more than Bunfest, which bunnies everywhere, how does it get better than that? More than my launch party, like, this is what I want to do. And I realized that I love chatting with young writers, and I'm so mad at myself that it took me so long to start working with kids writing. Like, oh my gosh, the passion. This group of young women were absolutely incredible. They were writing massive amounts of words, like 40,000 words in NaNoWriMo, and they're like between the ages of like 14 and 16. They were all writing pretty much YA fantasy, most of them, and they were all just so smart and so talented, and I just felt so inspired, and it really made me realize that I want to do more events with kids. Like I want to do school events. I want to get in there with the younger kids too. And yeah, it was just incredible. Absolutely incredible. Like if I had not gotten to do anything else as a published author, like this made it worth it. Those 15 or so girls 100% made it worth it. All right, next let's do a little quick update on Project Pyro. This is my YA thriller that I'm working on, and I have completed 5 chapters now in the second draft of her. It's going very slow but very well because I am working on a secondary project, which is mainly my main project right now, and I'm just kind of working on Project Pyro in little elbows of time, which is why I'm only 5 chapters into the second draft. My second drafts are still very sparse. They're not reading super voicey or pretty or anything like that. They're just kind of like getting the full story out, making sure there's no placeholders. I do really wish that I had more time to spend on her. I'm gonna have more time, a little bit more time in April, which is really exciting. But yeah, I love her so much, but she has to be the redhead stepchild right now. Next, let's talk about Bitter Bones. This is my main project right now. Bitter Bones is my upper middle grade horror. I was gonna say spooky fantasy, but no, it's like straight up horror. And I completed my outline. I'm very excited about it. This is the most complex and detailed outline I think I've ever done. I'm tracking so many different things. Like I always track my main plot, but then throughout every single chapter I have like a section where I'm just like where the character arc is, where the reveals are, where the red herrings are. I have like a little, there's like a little crush, so I have like not a romance arc but like a crush arc in there, so that's really fun to keep track of. And all of the horror-y bits I'm keeping track of, so it's very intense. But I think it's gonna make drafting so easy. Like I feel like I'm literally just gonna get there and just like whoosh, like draft through the thing hopefully so quickly. If you're interested in my like outlining brainstorming process, I do have videos in my process playlist, which I could probably link down below for you. I feel like I've been working on this for almost 2 months. Yeah, and usually it never takes me that long to do an outline, but that's how intensely outlined this was. Like every little red herring, every little piece of foreshadowing, I made sure to put it in the exact chapters I needed, so that way when it was revealed I can just like hopefully hit this, like it'll hit hard even in the first draft. Next, with that, I am going to start working on the synopsis because it is an option for Scholastic. So for those of you that don't know, Scholastic bought 2 books for me, The Glass Witch and The Odds. And in my contract, there is an option clause that means that if I write another middle grade, they want to see it first, and they will see it on proposal, which means they just need to see like 3 chapters, basically a query or a pitch and a synopsis. So now that I have the outline done, I'm going to work on the synopsis of the book, which is telling the entire story of the book, full spoilers, everything start to finish. That usually takes about 3 pages. Then I will be writing a pitch letter, which I'm not excited for. I hate writing pitch letters, but you know, I'll do it, I'll get it done. And then once all that's finished, I'm going straight into drafting. The plan is to get those first 3 chapters drafted and then polished, send them to a critique partner and send them to my agent, and I'm sure they'll give me feedback. And then I'll do those revisions, send them back to my agent, and once we've done enough rounds of revisions together, we will send it off to Scholastic and see what they think. And if they like it, they'll buy it. If they don't, I'm gonna keep drafting anyway. I'm gonna be drafting during this whole time that like Scholastic is like deciding if they want it or not, because like, well, if they do want it, you know, I'll need to draft the full book. And if they don't want it, well, I want to have a draft so that we can go on submission to other publishers with. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. I'm a little scared about it because it's my first time writing like full-on horror. Like my other books are spooky, but this is like horror, and it's also older than I've ever written. My main character is 13, and I'm trying to write it to like what actual 13-year-olds are dealing with, because I feel like when you're a 13-year-old, you're kind of also a teenager. Like you are a teenager, but you're also kind of a kid. So there's like this strange balance that I'm trying to walk, where I'm like, yes, this is upper middle grade, but it also in a way kind of feels like old YA, when YA was for like 14-15-year-olds. So I'm kind of nervous about that. I don't know how that's going to be perceived. I'm gonna try to write it with a young voice so it feels like it's middle grade, because my fear is someone's gonna read this and be like, oh, this is YA and you need to change it to YA, and then like everything's gonna change. And I don't feel like some of the things are gonna slap the same in YA as they would in middle grade. So I think it's all gonna come off like in execution, like how well I execute this voice. We'll see. These are just anxieties that I have, but overall I'm really excited with the project. I think it's maybe smarter than me, which is why I'm struggling with the outline so much. Like it took me so long with the outline because I was like, oh wow, this is doing a lot. So I think if I can do it right, it'll be really smart and really fun and hopefully really engaging and twisty for the kids, and hopefully kind of scary. Like I'm gonna scare some kids, but also the themes of just like, you know, realizing that sometimes you can't change your body, you can't make situations better, but like you can become strong enough to handle them. I feel like is a lesson I wish I had had when I was like a sick 13-year-old kid. So yeah, I think it's like a really important book and could be a good book. It just all depends on me and like how I can, if I can do this, which I can do this. I can do this, dang it. I can do this. Yeah, moving on. Oh, also, I got my first royalty statement, which was so cool. You get royalty statements every 6 months, and the one I got was July 2022 to December 2022. And obviously the Glass Witch only came out in October, so really mine was just for like the last 3 months. And it was really cool getting to see like how much I've sold and in what countries I've sold and what like editions. I will say I'm very happy with my sales. I've sold way more than I thought I would. I didn't know where to set my expectations because most of the information out there is on like YA books and there's not as much on middle grade. And it blows my mind that people like actually like find my book and pick it up and are like, hey, I want that. Most of my sales are coming from the Scholastic Book Fair, which is just like, I can't even describe. Like that means that most of my sales are coming from kids perusing the Scholastic Book Fair, and they see the Glass Witch on the shelf and they're like, I want to buy that. And so they pick it up and they buy it and they bring it home. Like the fact that most of my sales are coming from children wanting to read my book is just something that I'm not gonna dwell on, or I'll start crying on camera, and we don't want that. So I just think that's incredible. I love what Scholastic has done for me with pushing it so much at the book fairs. Like this is incredible. If you're a middle grade author, I highly recommend Scholastic. I've had such an amazing experience with the whole team there. All right, now let's move on into maybe some of the life stuff. In March, I had a decent pain month. I had about 11 pain-free days, which I would like it to be more. But I did start a new migraine medicine, which is very exciting. Most of the migraine medicine that's on the market is actually for other things, like for epilepsy, seizures. I think there's even some for narcolepsy, and they're just like, oh hey, also it helps with migraines. In the past few years, they've been releasing medicine that has actually been based on studies for migraines, because they're finally seeing it as something real, you know? Yeah, we're getting new medicines that are released specifically for migraines, and I'm on a new one, which it's always kind of scary when you get on a new medicine that hasn't been out there that long, because I'm like, oh my gosh, am I gonna grow like antlers out of my butthole or something? I'm taking that on top of all of my other stuff, and so maybe all together we'll get a regimen that'll actually help. There's not much I can do about the nerve stuff. I just deal with that on the daily, and that's fine. Like that's an amount of pain and discomfort that I can handle, but it's like adding the migraines on top of all my weird nerve stuff is just when it gets overwhelming. So if we could just get a handle on the migraines, like I just feel like my quality of life would just go up so much. I also made a no one cares, it's okay. I also made a garlic tincture this month that's like apple cider vinegar and garlic, and it just like infused for 6 weeks, and I take a spoonful every morning, and it's atrocious, but garlic is so good for you guys. Like you should be eating garlic. Unless you're like allergic, then don't do it. It's really good for like nerves and really good for joints and stuff like that. And I have arthritis in my neck. You know, anything that can help with inflammation is gonna help with the migraines and the nerve stuff. So I made the tincture and I started taking it this month. It was finally ready, and it's utterly disgusting. Like I like shiver every time I swallow it. But towards the end of the month, I got to the point where I can chase it with coffee real fast, and I've gotten to the point where I can handle it and not feel like I want to die. So it's probably gonna be so good for me. Like, I'm gonna be so mad if this is the thing that finally cures me. Okay, and then another life thing. I was utterly obsessed with Daisy Jones and the Six this month. I'm a big fan of Taylor Jenkins Reid's work, and this is such a good audiobook. Like 100% listen to it in audiobook if you are interested at all. But it's kind of like Fleetwood Mac and all their drama, but like distilled into a novel. It's so freaking juicy, and I really enjoyed the TV show. I was absolutely floored to find out that all of the actors really are the ones singing, really playing guitar, keyboard, whatever. I was just like shocked. Like apparently they went through like a 6-week intensive band camp to learn how to do all of this stuff. You can actually buy the album, which is amazing, because I remember after I finished reading the book, I was like so sad that I couldn't listen to this album, this fictional album that was created by these people, because like the way Taylor Jenkins Reid writes is like, these feel like real people. This feels like this was a real band in our world. And I was just so sad I couldn't listen to the album. But with the TV show, they released the album, so you can like buy it and listen to. I've been like playing the record every single morning when I wake up, and I'm like making my coffee. I'm like, like I sing one of their songs at least once a day. It's always stuck in my head, so incredible. Okay, my last life thing, my Squishmallow obsession kind of got really bad this month. I go in like spurts of when I buy Squishmallows, but this month it was like really bad because there were so many cute ones that I wanted, and I just just got a lot of them. By the way, welcome to my channel. I'm a 7-year-old. I'm gonna show you some of the ones I got because I'm ridiculous. This is Rudy the chicken, Gregor the moose, Bubbles the bunny, and I finally have completed my collection of having Squishmallows that look like my real pets. Let me show you real quick. So until the Squishmallows people decide to make a black bunny with lop ears, this represents Begonia. I thought purple was like her very much. We have one that looks like my cat, Wiener. We have Maximus, and we have the Boston Terrier, Chauncey. I finally have all of my pets in Squishmallow form. I have achieved greatness. So we have Sunny the bee, which bees are like quickly becoming one of my favorite animals. I got this frog. Her name is Lee, and she's like the perfect sunny color. Every time I look at her, I just feel so happy. I got a couple from the Easter collection. So this is Aaliyah. She's just a little sheep, live her life. This little keychain. He's a piggy. His name is Peter, and he has a little curly tail. I love this guy. This is Fritz, and he's a frog. Look at his little belly. And then, are you guys ready? This is Sandra the carrot. Oh my god, I'm just so happy right now. Okay, 2 more squishes. I have no explanation for this. This is Mary, and she's a big moth, and she is like my emotional support squish now, and she lives on my bed, and she sleeps between me and my husband. She is the other woman. And last but not least, my husband went to the grocery store, and he knew I was having a rough day, and he's like, I walked by her and she was just winking and smiling at me, so I just knew I had to bring her home to you. And her name is Slavina, and she's a little snail. Listen to her bio. And he had no idea of this when he bought it for me. Slavina is a writer and loves the finer things in life, like designer shells and tropical trips. She loves basking in the shade with a cool breeze to help her get started on a new book. Whenever she travels, it gives her inspiration to write new books. He had no idea when he picked her up she was a writer. You guys, I know it's ridiculous, but like, the dopamine in my body. Okay, and let's go ahead and end off with some fun reading that I did. So I have continued rereading the Aragon series, or the Inheritance Cycle, and I am having such a good time. I finished Bersinger, and that's the 3rd book in the story, which is funny because that is the one I think I've reread the least, because when I was a kid I kept rereading Aragon and Eldest, the 1st and 2nd books, waiting for the 3rd one to come out. So I've reread the first 2 so many times that getting into the 3rd and now the 4th books, I'm just like, oh, this is all new. This is so much fun. And right around the time that I was finishing the book, Christopher Paolini announced that he's writing a 5th book in the series. Like, we've been waiting forever, because he's always said that he sees the series in like 2 separate parts. Like, the first part of the series he's completed, and he's gonna do another arc later, and he's now announced that he's doing like the bridge book between the 2 arcs, and it's following my favorite character, Murtagh, who is like the prickly tortured boy, and I could not be happier. I love the cover. I think it's fantastic. And yeah, I can't wait for this. Like, my little 15-year-old self is just like squealing right now. All right, and then I had one book that I really, really loved this month, and that was Nightbirds. Now, this was one of my most anticipated releases, so I'm so excited that I loved it so much. And you guys, I think this is so good. This has a very like sweeping classic fantasy feel, but like with a new edge, because it's set in a 1920s like Prohibition era magic system where these girls are being controlled by these really rich houses because they have a power to bestow powers upon anyone that they give a kiss to. And it follows 3 POVs. All of the girls have different things going on. I thought they were really well constructed, and the plot was super engaging. And you know, it's kind of like a bunch of girls taking down the system, and I just really enjoyed it. Like, it's one of those books that I was reading and I was like, oh my gosh, if I was reading this as a teenager, I would be losing my mind. Like, this would be my whole personality. I just think it's so great for teenagers, like, and for adults that love that nostalgic feel. The writing is so beautiful. Everything is so whimsical and glitzy and glamoury, and I thought the magic was super cool. So I really enjoyed this one. So anyways, you guys, that, oh my god, I look like a potato once I take my glasses off. Don't perceive my naked face. That was my March. I think overall it was a really great month. I'm so excited for things happening in April, because in April, I'm going to England. Definitely follow me on Instagram if you want to come like get coffee or hang out at a bookstore. I'll be shooting out little Instagram stories being like, hey, I'm here until this time and let's do bookish things. You can pre-order The Odds. She's available for pre-order. She's really great. Like, I really recommend pre-ordering. Also, you can get The Glass Witch wherever books are sold. Feel free to like and subscribe if you like the Hot Mess Express over here. I'd love to hang out with you more. And yeah, tell me about your March. Tell me about some really great books you read, what your like big writing accomplishment was. If you have plans for Camp Nano in April, like, let's talk. It's been a while, so let's chat. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!